A long process and painful, costly process. But obviously nowadays the fastest way to grow and grab market share is pretty much to do acquisition that are complementary or buying your competition in some cases. So that obviously has a direct impact on our activity at D4M. We do provide assistance to company who are buying or selling. It could be both ways. Every time, obviously, there's a buyer, there's a seller. So we are very active in that area, assisting corporation to navigate to the process, not only from a planning perspective and hand holding, but also later on, in many cases, what's happening is the buyers, especially, may not have all the expertise and the bandwidth to tackle an acquisition because obviously you only have a certain number of employees. Everybody's busy doing support, doing other projects. So to come in with such a big undertaking like a merger of all your technology, it's quite rare that a company could absorb this workload within their normal operations. It always creates a very significant peak of project and activities that a typical IT department doesn't have normally the capacity to handle, in addition to everything they need to do on a day-to-day basis.
So basically, a lot is happening in the field of M&A. Okay, so then this leads us, I suppose, to the first question of the day, which is, okay, so M&A. If you could break down your thoughts on this and how exactly it pertains to the industry of digital manufacturing.
So if you look at what it means for manufacturing industries, basically is you end up with, and it depends on the type of acquisition. If it's there might be acquisition where a corporation is trying to expand their product line with new product and new type of offering, or in some cases could be a matter of increasing capacity. So it depends on which form it takes, but all in all, there's always significant impact at the manufacturing level, especially when it comes to process integration. So if you're buying a new factory or a new company that will have to be integrated in your operation from a production perspective, for example, you might be buying a company that is producing parts that you will need into your global manufacturing assembly process. So they will have, in some way, they will have to be integrated in a new global process. So it's unlikely that you could leave everything as is. So in order to benefit the acquisition of the advantage to their fullest, to maximize the advantage, there's always a big, I would say, advantage in doing some integration. So for manufacturing, it could mean, again, scheduling. It could be you have to readjust your scheduling process. The purchasing as well, you might see an increase of volume for a certain type of parts that may require, again, renegotiation of a purchasing agreement or procurement and so on. So basically, there is some synergy that at the end of the day, to take advantage of the synergy, to activate synergy, there is always behind the scene a technical component. It might be your purchasing system, it might be your ERP, it might be your scheduling system, but every time nowadays, every time that you try to adjust or merge processes, automatically there is an application, there's a system behind that will get impacted.
As far as D4M is concerned regarding M&A, so when exactly does D4M come into the picture? Say company A is buying company B. So when abouts do I'm I assume that you guys are in the ERP business and the digital manufacturing business. So I'm assuming M&A is when it comes to companies buying out plants. Is that correct?
Well, and where we come in the picture is I think we could assist, we do assist corporation it could be many form. It could be during the due diligence where we would come in with the client, our own methodology and checklist, because these are projects the due diligence will require a lot of details to go through. So it's a detail exercise to say the least. There's no such a thing as looking at due diligence from a 20,000 feet. It's a typical situation where the devil is in the details. So we could assist the client by bringing our approach, our process, and our checklists. So these are checklists that will cover every single aspect that needs to be looked at as part of a due diligence. So at the end of the day, is to avoid any surprises down the road where you thought what you're buying was included in system A and B or this ERP, and even within an ERP, there's different modules, there's features. So I think you need to look at in more detail what you're buying before you proceed. So we can assist during due diligence, coaching with checklist and guiding the client through the process, or later on, once the transaction is completed, we can help the client execute the transition plan, because one of the deliverables that will have to be developed early on is a transition plan. So we could not only assist the client in producing, helping making the transition plan a reality, but later on to execute the transition plan once the acquisition is done.